Hey guys, I think it's pretty simple going forward what is right for the New York Football Giants. And I've been a little bit guilty of, getting a couple of things wrong over the years. I've gotten things right, gotten things wrong. And the reason why this team is losing is because of Daniel Jones. It's because of this offense. It's because of Garrett. It's a lack of throwing the ball deep into the end zone for touchdowns. And the point is, during that final drive, it is second and goal from the 11-yard line with 10 seconds left. And during that final drive, the Giants had it on the Bears 30, on the Bears 20-yard line, and Daniel Jones was incapable of throwing the ball into the end zone. You can never succeed if you never try. You can never succeed at something if you never even give it an opportunity. If you throw it into the end zone, it could be a pass interference. Daniel Jones is not capable of making explosive plays, and Daniel Jones does not have a feel for when to escape the pocket. He stays in the pocket too much. He's incapable of throwing on the run, and his arm strength is very, very weak. It's towards the bottom of the league. The throw to Slayton was one of the luckier throws of Jones' career. It was a really good throw. And yeah, I'm the guy that said, to give Jones time, and that I was happy on draft night, or I was all good on draft night because I was like, this guy went to Duke. This guy's coached up by Cutcliffe. This guy is a fast runner. He's smart. He's going to work hard. But I was wrong on the evaluation because Jones, over time, I wasn't the guy clamoring before the draft for the Giants to go out and draft Jones. I know that they eventually needed to replace Eli Manning, and Gettleman was under this kind of pressure, similar to the Arizona Cardinals and Josh Rosen. And the point is that Daniel Jones cannot escape a pocket. He cannot throw the ball deep. And the New York Giants offense with Jones is just so unexplosive, and it sucks. And for the upcoming draft class, Trey Lance is the guy that is better than Daniel Jones. I don't know if the Giants are going to be the number one pick. I doubt it. I think the Jets will be, and they will take Trevor Lawrence. Then that means it's Fields and Lance, and Fields always has a clean pocket. Fields has that loopy release, his elbows all the way out there. Trey Lance throws with unbelievable touch and arc on the football. And look at Arizona. Arizona, they weren't, a stagnant team. And I'm tired of public perception telling everybody what to do. Optically, it is going to look bad that the Giants are replacing another quarterback, and, everybody's going to go in the headlines and say that the Giants are a poverty franchise, already quitting on Daniel Jones. You already know what the headlines are going to be. But, let's with Daniel Jones, I doubt that he's going to. I'll give Jones an opportunity to kind of change my mind, but the defense is playing well enough to win. In the second half of the Steelers game, Jones and the offense wasn't able to score really any points. They sucked in the second half. And then in the first half against the Bears, he threw an interception. He fumbled. In the second half, he threw another pick six, but it was called back because of a penalty. And against a Bears team that was absolutely letting you back in the game, the Giants never took the lead once. I think in 8 quarters of play, the Giants have been winning in maybe 1 quarter out of 8 quarters. Against the Bears led cover to cover. Last year with Daniel Jones, when he played the Vikings or when he played the Patriots, the Lions, the Giants they're always losing. This offense just sucks. The reason why the Giants aren't blowing teams out is because the Giants can't score quickly and decisively. They don't have a Russell Wilson or an Aaron Rodgers. You look at teams that are really good. You either have a really good quarterback or you have a terrific running game, and like the Raiders do, where you have a brilliant coach in John Gruden. And just like the Raiders, they were missing 2 offensive linemen last night. They bullied the living shit out of the Saints. It was amazing to watch. Josh Jacobs, Jalen Richard Jalen freaking Richard, a guy that they just pick up the scrap heap, runs in for a winning touchdown. So, and Carr is better than Jones. He's a little more mobile. His arm angles are better, more touch on the ball, can throw it a little bit deeper. So, point is about Jones, he's playing like a top 5 worst quarterback in the league, and then you can make excuses for Daniel. Saquon's now out, the offensive line. But you look at Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, and these guys are playing their first games in the NFL. You look at Josh Allen, and Josh Allen had horrible receivers. He had, like by NFL standards, Cole Beasley and John Brown are not the be-all, end-all in terms of receivers. Devin Singletary was a dead rookie. That offensive line wasn't good last year, and he's still making it work. He's still, guiding the team. He's still making explosive plays when he needs to. And he set the foundation for this year. So what you look for at the quarterback position is you look for a guy that can get outside the pocket. You look for a little bit of height if you can. You look for arm strength and touch. Trey Lance is all those things. You look for a guy that's a good guy. Trey Lance seems like a really nice kid and has battled the adversity of getting overlooked and going to North Dakota State. Guys like Fields and Trask, Kyle Trask might be just too big and immobile to play the position. So the way that you have to look at quarterbacks now is, can he escape a pocket? Does he have really good feel? Is he strong? Can he throw the ball deep? And Justin Herbert does all those things. That's why Herbert works. Joe Burrow is very good at extending. He's smart. It's just his arm strength isn't awesome. So Burrow's going to be relegated to like an Alex Smith level career in the NFL. But you look at Russell Wilson, Russell can escape a pocket. You look at Kyler Murray, these are the best escapers. Deshaun Watson has feel and escapability. So what guys can roll out of a pocket, and what guys are comfortable when the pocket when the pocket breaks down, of making plays. Gardner Minshew plays in this league because he's good at understanding where there's pressure. He has a good feel for the game in terms of when there's a guy around him. He knows when to escape, when to step up. And then he's able to escape a pocket and throw. And yes, his arm strength isn't that good either, but he's very similar to like a Joe Burrow in that sense. Ryan Tannehill's mobile. So, Jones has entry lanes to leave the pocket, but he's very unsure of what he's doing. He's getting rattled with the fumbling problem. And during that final drive, the New York Giants against the Chicago Bears, there's no explosive plays, so the offense is not going to put up any points. The defense is fighting admirably. Seems like I'd rate the defense, like, in terms of the league, maybe a top 15 level defense. Of how the Giants have been playing. And against Nick Mullins at home, the Giants D and Patrick Graham, they're winning every week. They're putting themselves in position to win. They're not going to get credit for winning because the offense is like the worst offense in the entire league. And, I know Jones doesn't have a lot of help, but he has Evan Ingram, he has a Shepard, you have a Golden Tate. You need a deep threat, absolutely. But Jones doesn't look like the same quarterback that played against the Redskins in Week 16. He doesn't look like the same quarterback that played against the Tampa Bay Bucks. If you look at the games that he played, and he played well in the Lions game a little bit, but I just don't see Jones I don't see Jones winning anything of any importance. I see him being like a bottom 7 quarterback in the league, and honestly, what the tape shows you, you're going to adapt. And the people on draft night that were angry about the Jones pick, they probably wanted Dwayne Haskins, and they're not going to admit that Haskins hasn't been that good, and that he doesn't look mobile either, and that he wasn't studying his playbook as good as Jones from multiple accounts out of the Redskins last year. So those people that wanted Josh Allen, that wanted that pass rusher from Jacksonville, first of all, you look at certain guys, even Quinnen Williams is supposed to be a good defensive player, and Jamal Adams, and the Jets drafted all defense, Mo Claiborne and stuff. I really think that first round picks that are not quarterbacks, you're swinging again. It's not it's not a guaranteed thing, So And then people say if you draft a horrible quarterback that it sets your franchise back, decades, or it sets your franchise back years. But look at Arizona. They drafted a quarterback they didn't like, and they ignored what the NFL and the media told them to do, and everybody made fun of them and called Steve Keim an absolute fool and said, why is this guy keeping his job? Why is this guy keeping his job? He's an idiot. He's an idiot. He drafted Kyler Murray. He's a piece of crap. Why does this guy have a job? He's an embarrassment. Why draft Josh Rosen last year? And they traded Josh Rosen for Andy Isabella. They also got a second round pick in Allen out of Boston College. And now the people that insulted Steve Keim, they get to go hide away under their covers, and they get to just live their life, and no one gives a rat's ass about their opinion 2 years ago. You have guys in the media, they can insult Steve Keim, say really mean things about him, and demand and try to put his head on a guillotine. And then when he ends up making one of the smarter moves in NFL draft history with drafting Kyler Murray, a smaller quarterback, and the Cardinals go out and hire a head coach in Cliff Kingsbury that wasn't even close to winning a college conference, and they're taking risks and making it work in the desert. The guys that were insulting the decision, they're nowhere to be found. They're not going to own up to their mistakes. They're just going to ignore their mistakes because it's better for business. It makes their show maybe more entertaining, or it makes them seem more credible. And they're just going to never admit that Steve Keim shouldn't have gotten fired. And that's the point with Gettleman and the Giants and what I've been saying. I've liked the Odell trade. I like the defensive pieces of Tomlinson, of Dexter Lawrence, of even Carter. Lorenzo Carter's even playing better. Leonard Williams needs to step up this year. But if Dave Gettleman gets fired over Jones, I'm fine with it, because Gettleman's been given his opportunity. He's been given 3 years. He's been given a long leeway of opportunity. And Jones, for 2 years, hasn't won, and he's failed. And then, how many times are you going to be able to draft a Trey Lance, a guy who's mobile, who checks all the boxes, a guy who can throw those moon balls 60 yards in the air, and a dynamic quarterback that, with Saquon Barkley returning next year, can win? You're in the winning business. You're not in the business to be average or even good. You're not in the business to try to appease people, to try to appease the mainstream opinion. You're not, because those people in the mainstream opinion, they don't really watch your team or really care. They're covering the league. So you got to do what's good for you in your life. As weird as the path may be, and as odd as the path may be, you got to look out for your own good at a lot of points in your life. And for the New York Giants, that goes for them as well. It goes with firing Jason Garrett. It goes with Daniel Jones if he does not substantially improve. It goes with getting rid of Jones and selecting a Trey Lance and moving on. And getting a dynamic quarterback that can throw the ball far and that can score points. The Giants need to score points. They're in the business of scoring points on the offensive side of the football, and when Jones doesn't have the arm strength to do it, when Jones is making bad decisions, and when Jones doesn't escape the pocket and is not mobile enough to find ways to throw and have a feel for the game. Big Ben is not as athletic as Daniel Jones, but Big Ben still moves around in the pocket, and when the play breaks down, Big Ben's as good as anybody at rolling outside the pocket. That's why Big Ben is able to last. That's why Big Ben, unlike Rivers and Eli, are able to last the test of time, because Eli was never incredible at getting outside of a pocket. When he was younger, when Eli was in his prime, he was good at backpedaling. The offenses back then were more pocket passer generated. Every offense looked like the Raiders offense last night. Every offense had Kevin Gilbride. I would say that now the offensive linemen are a lot weaker. They're not as big. They're not really prepared for that style of offense anymore. And the defensive linemen are just better at stuffing 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1s, and offenses are just with how, soft their training camps are. It's just Eli Manning he played in the right era for him. If Eli played in this era, he it might not go as well for him. Or even like a Peyton Manning might not even do as well. Sometimes you're a product of your era, and it doesn't mean this era is any better. If Russell Wilson played back in the 1990s, he wouldn't be as good either because the style of offense was very different. So these guys are all going to be good in every era, but the era does make a difference in what you play in. And for the New York Giants, for everything I just illustrated, the Giants and Daniel Jones are incapable of putting up big points. And that's why the Giants never have a lead, and that's why they're never comfortable winning, because they're never able to get up big on teams. Carson Wentz even had a 17-point lead, and everyone thinks Carson's horrible, but Carson has the ability to leave a pocket. He has a big arm. He looks for big plays. Daniel Jones does not hunt big plays either. Does not hunt big plays. Even Kirk Cousins hunts big plays. And that's the thing about Jones in this offense. If you watch that 2-minute drill and you like that style, I don't know what to tell you. I just disagree. It's just not me. You know, it's not me. It's not what I like. I like scoring points as quickly as possible oftentimes. And I like taking chances and throwing the ball down the field. And even Jameis Winston last year, that offense, I didn't even mind that offense that much because they were putting up points and big plays. So I guess you can call me whatever you want, but just Jones is worrying me, and he's showing that he's not enough so far. And again, we're going to see till the end of the year. I'll keep an open mind on the process, but I would be excited about a Trey Lance, and it wouldn't be the worst thing for the franchise probably. So we'll see if Jones can kind of prove me wrong at this stage in his career. You know, a lot of times you're going to give opinions out, and then things are going to happen, and then you're going to have to adapt your opinion to the evidence that is out there. And that is what is going on now. And you're going to have to adapt your opinion over time. You know, you shouldn't just be stubborn with an opinion and stick with an opinion if it's going to be dead wrong. Some of the opinions you're going to hit square on the head. So I think that I'm trying to understand this offense and this NFL better. And I think the Giants are as well. So, you know, by the way, if the Giants drafted a Trey Lance next year, I'd expect playoffs immediately. Rookie quarterbacks are ready to come in and ball, you know, with the rule changes and everything. Being a young quarterback, you know, you can win with a rookie. You know, Justin Herbert almost won. You know, Josh Allen made the playoffs in year 2. Carson Wentz won Super Bowl year 2. You know, rookies and year 2 guys, they ball the heck out. Okay, so that's just the facts of the matter. You know, Cam Newton cannot play for a whole year, come back and ball. So, you know, guys can come on in and rock the world, you know, their rookie season. So it's time for the Giants fans to be a little bit impatient. I've hit my breaking point. I'm a little bit desperate to win, just like you guys are. And, you know, we sent Eli out the right way. You know, you had to handle that right because he's a legend, and you want to uphold values of your organization. And the Giants sent Eli out the right way, and I'm proud of them for it. Now the Giants need to look for what is good for the next, you know, for the long term. The Giants need to look what's good for the next 5 years. And then if Trey Lance, you know, then you're going to have to pay him a bunch of money. But in those next 5 years, the Giants, if they get Trey Lance, the Giants could probably compete for a championship. And this is all just a guess, right? And then we'll see Lance play. And if Lance doesn't look very good, I'll be coming back and I'll be analyzing the situation. So I'm just analyzing my thoughts here. I'm not giving you any long-term projections or opinions. Telling you, like, I like the Trey Lance kid in his game. I'm also telling you I'm doubting Daniel Jones a little bit. And the pick at number 6, I'm not even blaming Gettleman that much for the pick because you look at Josh Allen and he's going to be an all-right player in this league, but he wasn't going to make a difference if you still had Eli Manning. And then the Giants could have went and taken Haskins at number 17, and they'd be in the same boat, and Gettleman would still be getting fired anyway. And they couldn't ignore the quarterback position. So you even look at Drew Lock, and Drew Lock ends up getting hurt. So it's not easy to select a quarterback. You know, Gettleman was put like in an impossible situation with having to fix the offensive line, with having to draft a quarterback, with having Pat Shurmur there. Well, he selected Pat Shurmur. So, and this ownership is a little bit rigid, and they should be more fluid with situations. Specifically at this moment, the ownership needs to be very fluid in terms of being aggressive right now. And the more aggressive you are, just like the Patriots are aggressive, oftentimes the better that you're going to be. So, Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, there's some quarterbacks that are struggling, like Baker, like Wentz, like I said. I think those guys are really, really good. I wouldn't move on from Wentz or Baker Mayfield, so I disagree. But even Daniel Jones, the way that he's playing right now, even a Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr, like I wouldn't move on from Carr whatsoever. So even Garoppolo, I'm not moving on. So I'm not one of these guys that's immediately gonna, flip out and not give a quarterback a fair chance. I didn't love Tannehill, but hey, Tannehill's doing better than I expected. So there's going to be some guys that I'm going to have more leeway and patience with based on their style of play. Like, I think Wentz is very good for the Philadelphia Eagles. I do. I think it'd be great if Jalen Hurts can take over. As a Giants fan, I'd love to see it. And I'd be interested in Wentz, even from a Giants perspective. I don't know if the Eagles would ever trade with the Giants, but they traded with the Redskins way back in the day. But you guys just have to give your thoughts on the offense in the comment section below. Like, how are you guys feeling about the Daniel Jones patient meter? And even I'm a huge Dave Gettleman guy, but I can admit that, when it's time to move on from a Dave Gettleman and to draft a new GM, and I'm happy Gettleman at least got an opportunity. I'm happy with how he built the team, and I think that a lot of Gettleman selections, even with the new GM, I think Gettleman actually gave us like a good blueprint for when the Giants win. You can thank Dave Gettleman for a lot of his decisions, like Andrew Thomas as a tackle, maybe Matt Peart, maybe Darnay Holmes, maybe James Bradbury, maybe, Blake Martinez, Leonard Williams, like Dexter Lawrence, Kevin Zeitler, X-Man O'Shane Xemenez, McKinney. So Gettleman still has his fingerprints all over the organization and the team. And depending on what the Giants do in the next 3 to 4 years, you won't know about Dave Gettleman's job until the next 3 or 4 years. You can give a GM, I guess, credit for selecting a one quarterback, but the game of football is also a big team game, and Jones is just very bad in terms of, he's just a bottom feeder in the league. And it was kind of a Shurmur-Gettleman decision. And now Shurmur is gone, and Shurmur's not even very good in Denver either. So that's who was kind of running the ship, was Shurmur and James Bettcher, and those two guys are not getting jobs anytime soon in the NFL. So there you go. That's an analyzation of what has happened. I'm prepared to say when I was not right about Jones, and I thought Jones would be better, I was wrong about Jones, especially for this upcoming year. I wanted Jones over Dwayne Haskins. Outside of Kyler Murray, I didn't love the quarterback class. I still like Jarrett Stidham a lot, so I'm still mostly sticking by my opinions and convictions. But sometimes you're going to have to know when you're just wrong on picks and guys, and it's looking that way, and the evidence is just telling me that. And I don't like the way that the Giants offense is built. Jones needs to go out against the Niners and put up like a good 35 points. He needs to start putting the Giants in the high 30s. And I don't mean garbage time. I mean trying to take a lead and trying to win. If the Giants go 6-10 and Jones in this offense puts up points, like, that'll keep Jones. So it's all up to Daniel Jones. Right now it's looking bad. It's looking like Trey Lance territory. It is. So let's see what happens. I'm kind of predicting, Trey Lance, and I'm predicting this offense to be really bad with Daniel Jones. And that's what I'm predicting. So that's that. I think the Giants are very close. I really do. I think that this defense is ready to win, especially next year. This defense is getting really good, so really be hopeful on this defense and Patrick Graham. I think the defensive side is perfect. I think the offensive line is really coming together. I think that the running back unit is good enough. So I think that the Giants, if you look at all three phases, special teams, defense, passing, and running game, I think that the defense is ready to rock, ready to compete for playoffs next year. I think the special teams is ready to rock, ready to compete. I think the offensive line is majorly going to improve under Mark Colombo, so you're handling pieces of the pie. This should be a very positive outlook. And if you draft a quarterback next year, people are going to think it's the end of the world and think your team's so far away, but you're really never that far away. You're not as close as you seem. You're never as far as you seem. All right. Appreciate you guys listening to my thoughts today.